Now, a day is a concept or a period of time. Sometimes a day is your whole life. That is why Ecclesiastes says there's a time for this and a time for that and a time for this and a time for that. And you've got to recognize your time. And the only way you step out of it is in the Spirit. I want to say something here. If you wake up to the Spirit, you have not lost time, because there is no time in the Spirit. So a day is also your whole lifetime. I remember when I got the book of my father. He was a famous artist. And on the top it says, it was a good day. In a split second, I saw how he made my doll's houses, how he taught me to drive a go-kart, how he gave me a kite. I saw all the things, how he taught me fishing, how he brought me in when I got married. I saw him picking up my firstborn baby. I saw him when he died. All in. It's like a split second. This is what dreams and visions are. They take you out of the natural and put you in there. So God intercepts our day all the time with His today. This little word, the limited day, is also a spiritual day. Now, we have looked at days, but we have to go back to where day is first mentioned. And please, when you go back to Genesis, you cannot read Genesis with a natural carnal mind. It is written by a vision given to Moses when he was on the mountain, and he stepped right out of his day and he saw the creation day. But in the Spirit, he saw this day from beginning to end. God said, I am the beginning and I am the end. In your life, He's the author and finisher of your faith. But in creation, He's the beginning and the ending, which is but a point in eternity. It's just like a little entering point in eternity. There was the beginning and the end. And at the end, everything is going to go back to God. So let's go look where it is first mentioned. He says we've got to go through the whole of Genesis 1, but I think you're going to do that by yourself. I'm just going to take you through certain verses. He says, in the beginning, God created everything. He created the heaven and the earth. Heaven was co-created with the earth. Heaven is not eternal. This is why Isaiah 66 says, heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool. So I'm working from there and I'm working on earth. Now, when God created everything, it was a unity. There was earth and heaven was a realm. That was the first realm created. Then he says the earth was dark and void. And here comes the first day. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Oh, God said. God said. John 1 tells us, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It was God with God. What happened is the Spirit Word came out of God. And out of the Spirit Word came creation. God said. So this is why Colossians says, He is the head of everything. In Him was created heavens, above heavens, below. Everything was in Him. And when He came, He consummated everything that man separated. So He says, let there be light. And we know when He came, He was the true light. In Him was life, and the life was the light. So what He actually said here is, life be! It all comes from Him. This is why you cannot run away from Him. And God saw the light, that it was good, and divided the light from darkness. He divided the light from darkness. I want you to please note the pattern in the creation week. There are 7 days, meaning God works with it. It has to do with light, water, land. Then it was light, water, land. But it was first dividing, preparing. This is where all the scientific rules were made. It was a preparing, and then it was a light and a filling that goes unto a rest, which is 3, 3, and then rest. This was God's plan. But man jammed it up, so now it becomes 4 and 3. Earth and heaven. That's why it's 7. Perfection. And this is where God created everything. Now, this first 3 days was all a dividing. And God called the light day, and in darkness He called night. And it was evening and morning the first day. This is very important. This is not a 24-hour day. It is a spiritual concept. So day 1 means a time period that had an evening and a morning. It was evening, then it's a morning, and then it's a day. So this is why Psalm 110 says, in the womb of the morning. The morning is a womb to bring the day forth. So we need to understand day. The womb of this morning was, in the beginning, was God. God with God. And God decided He's going to create everything. Revelation tells us, for His pleasure. This is like what? I love the word. I now understand why my husband kissed the word. So, He divided light from darkness. So never again was anything created in darkness. He created everything in light, life, perfection. And this is where He made the God, and this is where He placed man, this is where, and we know man jammed it. So the minute man jammed it, this heaven and earth was separated. Now man has never seen the glory, because He says in Romans, man fell short, all have sinned and fell short of the glory. So man was made a living soul, and he has never been filled with, he was clothed with it, but he was not filled with it. And this is what we all get if we understand the spiritual language in it. If you don't take it in the spirit, you're not going to understand Genesis 1 and 2, because it looks like, I've heard people say it's 2 separate creations. Really? It's what God did and how He did it. You have to understand it. So day 1 is a period. Light day is a realm. It's a realm. Darkness is night. So on day 4, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars. They were to be a division between night and day. And this is the first sign that there is going to be a change, because there's light and there's darkness. Now comes a change where it's going to be darkness and light. This is what Jesus said. The first man, Adam, became a living soul. The last Adam, the second man, the last Adam, became a quickening spirit. How be it? The first is natural, not spiritual. But it's in the day, but it's natural. So you cannot. It's 2 different worlds that we have here. And this is where 2 Peter 3 tells us. The first world was destroyed by the flood, the second world by fire. The first world and the second world is all worlds that functioned before the cross. After the cross, it's a total different world. He says it's the natural and the spiritual, and you must be born again into that. This is what Jesus came to do. In Him, He united everything, but you have to step into it, because He has prepared that place for you. You cannot mix the old and the new, and this is the problem. Why Israel landed with their carcasses in the wilderness in 40 days, because they tried to pull the second world into the new, because the new world, He says, you are my body. The church is His body. He says, glory be to God in the church, a world with no end. This is why the first world had an end in the flood. The second world had an end, 70 AD. But the third world, the church, we've got a high priest after the order of Melchizedek who have no end, no father or mother. It's eternal. So in other words, the minute you are born again, you step into eternity. And that is a very, very important point in time, because you step out of time. That is a very, very important point in your life. I think that's what he explains by he limits a certain day.